So my name is Larissa Sousa. I work in Gorongosa National Park since 2017. And I started as the Girls Club's program manager. And actually this year, that's when I started working in communications. But I started since the beginning with the whole setting up and making the idea of girls clubs be implemented and actually have the project running for the past 3 years. And then this year I started working in communications. I think the idea of girls clubs came from long ago from Mr. Greycar, who is very strong in terms of human rights. And so when he came to work, help the government of Mozambique manage the park, he also had the side of the human rights, as well as ensuring that the people who live around the park are benefiting from the park. So the idea of focusing on women was because they are the most vulnerable, and they are the ones who are less valued in terms of education, because women normally have to study until they are ready to get married, and then which is the time of transition, which is between 10 and 16 normally. And so we decided to focus on working with the girls to avoid early marriages and ensuring that they have the same education as the boys. And to also work with the women in the communities was also somehow in the efforts of conservation, actually, in general, because women are the ones that go to the field, open up vast areas of land to make their farms. They are the ones who cater for the kids at home, so they should have this information. They should know about conservation. So that's why we focused on women, not that we are not as well working with men and boys in the community, but this project is focusing on women, especially because there is a very high numbers of early marriages and pregnancies in rural areas all around Mozambique, actually. But these are the areas that are very much common because they are far away from everyone and from everything. The basic conditions for these people are not catered for example. So we want to ensure that everyone is somehow given the same opportunities in education, ensure that these people are also somehow informed, that they have livelihoods, that they have health provided for them. So that's why we started working in general around human development, and under education, we focused firstly on women. But now we actually have other programs, such as the youth clubs, such as the teachers clubs, that are benefiting everyone, not just the girls. But the girls clubs are still there and focusing on girls to ensure that they are out of marriages and that they are kept in school, and that they have the same opportunities. The park has different departments. One of them is science, which focus on the protection of the biodiversity, so flora and fauna. And then we have another big department, which is the human development. So under the human development, we have all these other pillars also included to ensure that the people around the park are also catered for, because they are the ones who will later on make this park sustainable, because there's not always going to be donors, there's not always going to be money, but they will always be there. So it's their role, and they have to be the people, the activists, to make conservation happen all the time. The park is a wild place. Yeah. So we actually don't need to be there to conserve it. If it's just there, but as soon as we have a footprint there, as long as we go there and have our hand there, then we need to cater for it. And the park is such a big place that we have people living. We don't have a fence around the park, so it's just this big land. And then we have this area of transition where the people can live, and this is where the people who we work with under the Human Development Stay. And the last census, it was about 200,000 people who live around the park. So what we want to do is to ensure that these people are cared for, so that they have health services provided for them, because this is a very, how can I say, marginalized area, because this is the area of conflict between the two biggest political parties. So Renamo is like based in Gorongosa. And so the government has not invested as much into these areas. So the people don't have hospitals, for example. There's no proper schools built. There is no jobs, for example. So what we're trying to do is to ensure that these people have these things catered, that their communities are developed. And during this process, we also educating and helping them understand what is conservation, why should they preserve this park, how they can gain from it. For example, we, as the park, we have to give 20% of all the profits done from tourism to these communities to develop them. So they need to sit down and make a plan as a community that, hey, our priority is a good conventional school, for example. And then in the next year is a health post. And then in the next year is creating some kind of association that people can join forces and buy like a tractor for their own farms, for example. So it's them realizing that the park is more of a benefit for them if they conserve and if they preserve this park. If they kill the animals, they won't have tourists. So they won't have this money that is going to develop their communities. So it's just a cycle of things that they need to understand. And it's not a matter of 1 year or 2 years that people realize that most of these people have almost no education. So I mean, I'm talking about the adults. So it takes a while for them to understand. And there are people who are always saying the park is owned by somebody, and the somebody is sending the animals to come and eat in our farms. So people need to understand how the whole system works and how they can start taking ownership. And we normally take the people from the community all free. So we organize all the transport. We take them to the park to see the animals. Most of these people haven't even seen an elephant. So they don't understand, they don't realize the magnitude of these things. So they've just heard elephants, for example, eating in their farms, and they already hate the elephants because it's eating their food. But they cannot make the relation and the whole cycle, how everything works, and how together we can try and find solutions for problems like human and wildlife conflict, for example. And so it's a matter of them working together with us to ensure that everyone has benefits from the park. And we are guided by ensuring that there's protection of the biodiversity as well as developing the communities, because you want to create sustainability. Well, we only have the mandate to work around the buffer zone. So that's the area straight away from the park. But we've actually had quite many requests to help replicate the same ideas around the country, especially for girls clubs. And we've been working with other conservation areas in Mozambique that want to create girls clubs, and we working with them to implement on their own areas. So yeah, it's been successful in the sense that people want to replicate the idea. People want to as well be able to do in other areas, even in urban areas. I think it's just a matter of just adapting a little bit the whole idea of the project, and it can be implemented. Yeah, once you get here, it's like it becomes a passion, and you don't even see when you're working. It doesn't become work anymore. You just hands-on and everything. I remember when we started, there were girls who were very shy. For example, they wouldn't talk. In Mozambique, the official language is Portuguese. However, each big province has their own local language. So most of these kids just spoke the local language, but now they picking up Portuguese, they writing, they counting, and it's just very rewarding to see how small changes can help people in different ways. I always tell them everyone has challenges. Everyone, because when they see me or other people who somehow come from town or the urban areas, and they think that everything came easy to me. And so I tell them that I didn't, or I don't face the same challenges as you, but I did face challenges during my life, and I will still will. And the secret is not giving up and being able to somehow have your head up and always with respect see how you can overcome your challenges and your problems, because at the end of the day, there's nobody who does not live without any problems. It can be small or big, but most of the times when they see people, when they all grown up and have nice clothes and all a good job, for example, they think that somehow it came easy for them. So I always tell them, no, you have to work hard to get where you see these other people are. So if you work hard now, you're going to have better rewards later. So it's a matter of trying to inputting in their heads that investing in education is a long-term thing, and that's one of the biggest things that we work with the parents, because we work with the girls, but we need to also involve the parents in this, because normally who organizes the early marriage are the parents or the guardians. And so they don't see why they should invest in education. And so we need to make sure that we show them, and is by using local role models that they can see that, oh, that girl was like this and she came from our community. She went away, she studied, and she's like this. She has a job, she has really nice clothes, she has a bicycle, she has a motorbike, and she can do those things. And in the community, they don't think that far, or they can't see that far. So that's why we need to show them with tangible things. And now we are starting to get girls coming out of high school, and when they go back to their own community, people are surprised, like, wow, this girl was able to get to the stage, and they start valuing women more, they start valuing education. So I think it's a matter of saying, hey, we all have challenges, but if we work hard and if we get educated, we can do this. So, and before, for example, all the girls just wanted to be teachers and nurses, because that's the only professions that they knew that women can be or can have. And because we were in such a masculine society, those are the only very feminine things that they could see themselves doing. But now when we have a girl saying, no, I want to be a ranger, because she has seen a ranger in the park who came from the community, and she sees that, hey, if she has done it, I can do it. And now we have girls saying they want to be from A to Z. So that makes me very happy. And I'm sure most of them won't become what they want to become, because during the course of your studies and as you're growing up, you change your mind and all of that. But just the fact that they're now saying, hey, I can become that, it's really, really good accomplishment. And they now start visioning themselves. And it's easier when you have somehow an end goal, because when you're just going and you don't know, like, I'm just studying, I don't know why I'm studying, So when they have an end goal and they have specific targets, it's easier for you to move forward. I think I want to say that thank you for everyone who has taken the time to see. And I hope that this film can inspire people everywhere in the world to see how conservation can be done, to see how we are trying to preserve the planet, and to ensure that even the most vulnerable people can do their own good to conserve in big scale, because if we all do our own part, it is possible. And I think most of the times we just somehow get stuck on the mindset of, oh, there's a lot of poverty and things like that, and so it's hard to conserve because people are catering for other things, you know. Because if we have everyone with the same mindset to say that, hey, I can be poor, but at the same time I can do my part, I can recycle, I can do, it's the littlest thing in the world that can make an impact to do conservation. And wherever we can, we are trying to help the most vulnerable, and as well as show the world that everyone can do this. And yeah, we as Gorongosa National Park are very happy with what we're doing in terms of science, in terms of the wildlife protection. I think we don't see ourselves as restoration anymore. We're just trying to now maintain and keep a healthy wildlife, and have people develop, and see kids grow to become our future scientists.